Hello. I'd like to talk about composition, that particular style term which has to do with how the subject matter is arranged on a canvas, how the parts are related to the whole. And to illustrate some of the basic concepts, I've done a little animation that I'll explain first, and then we'll look at a couple of Delacroix paintings from the Romantic period. So here's the first animation. This shows how when you have two elements that are the same on a canvas, it's symmetrical. You change one of those elements and it becomes asymmetrical. If you just have one element, it is the single focal point, and there can be lines like perspective lines or gestures that point to that single focal point. A focal point, however, can change if there are certain things like reds or faces. So some subject matters call your attention more than others. And if you have three elements grouped together in a triangular form, it becomes a pyramidal composition like we've seen throughout the Renaissance. It's a very stable composition with three pieces to it. And often it's human forms, and those are what we look at first. Certain colors like red draw our attention as well. So those are some of the basic elements, and we will see those as well in the two paintings. So let's look at The Liberty by Delacroix first, and you can see that that is a painting that shows liberty leading the people. She's an allegorical figure taken from classical mythology, and you can tell that because she's half undressed. And also she's larger than everyone else. She's carrying the French flag, the red, white, and blue flag in her hand, leading people from various classes in society, from a middle class lawyer type with a gun in his hands to a peasant who is beside him and a young boy on her other side. And she crosses the battlefield and comes right towards us with the smoke in the background and the Notre Dame Cathedral. So you have a basic pyramid shape right there. And there's also a line drawn across the faces of the participants that's equal to her waist. So you've got focal points on her at the apex of the pyramid, as well as on the line of faces that range across her in a horizontal fashion. Now let's take a look at the Sardanapalus painting by Delacroix. And this also uses pyramids. It's a fairly complex piece of an Assyrian king who had lost his kingdom. And rather than give in and surrender, what he does is gather all his possessions, including his concubines and his horses and his slaves, has them put to death, and the rest of his possessions, such as the bed that he's lying on, are gathered together into a giant pier, and then all will be set to fire. And so he commits suicide rather than give himself up. And here you have another triangular structure, as you can see, along with set groups of people that are arranged in circular fashion. The whole thing is on a diagonal, laid out on a diagonal from the face of Sardanapalus down to the foreground. And then with himself at the apex of this pyramid, you can see that the horse is included, as well as a couple of his slaves, one slave putting the concubine to death. And then you've got four circular groups as well. So you can see that most of these paintings, no matter how complex they are, can be simplified into their relevant parts, into particular shapes that explain the movement and the arrangement of the forms. So that's it for today. Bye.